Cabrera, take a bow. All right, so tomorrow night's the Oscars, right? Next week's Valentine's Day. What do you guys think, huh? A little Valentine's Day nod. This is the People's Choice, the Emmys, the Grammys, the Oscars, all rolled into one tonight. It's that big, Kevin. It's that big. I'm not making today's. I hope to God this isn't the last time I get to host this, and I do give a damn what happens tonight. My name's John Bly. I've been your Executive Vice President for 10 years. Thank you. And I'm honored to host this, the 42nd annual ECA Installation Dinner Awards. This is an awesome occasion. I think this is one of the best things we do. And Mary, again, thank you very much for putting all this on. I just want to kind of set the frame. I'm not going to be up here very long. I recall the night back in 2003 when I got introduced as president. I had the good fortune to have my father introduce me back in 2003, and I was extremely nervous because most of my career had been done working on wastewater and water treatment plants out of this area. So I had not made all these rock-solid connections with ECA folks. I was like an outsider, and I think you get intimidated by speaking to people that you don't know very well. Tonight, we've got people getting honored that do have rock-solid relationships with everybody in this room, and I think it's going to be one of those great evenings. In the 10 years that I've been here, I've been able to cultivate some of those relationships. I feel a hell of a lot more comfortable tonight than I did 17 years ago. 17 years ago. This freaking scary. Where's my attorney? Glenn, did you get that? I mean, we have coverage. We have coverage for that, don't we? The ECA obviously has become my career, my passion, and my extended family. And I count my blessings every day. This is a perfect job for me. I love it. And I'm so thankful that you guys accept me and let me lead this group. And I don't take it lightly. Thank you. I remember how much it meant to me to get introduced as president of the ECA 17 years ago, and I suspect that gives me a little inside track on those that are giving their speeches and getting honored tonight as to what it probably means to them. Our people that are being installed and honored tonight are not successful in being honored for their public speaking prowess. So I ask all of you to kind of bear with us. The family here, they're giving it their best shot. Let's make them feel at ease. And hopefully, they're people just like all of us, hardworking, trying to make imperfect progress out of this world and keep a moral compass guiding you in the correct way. And I think at the ECA, we do a pretty damn good job of that. Every firm within the ECA does that. After years of honing their skills as professionals, tonight, they're up here and their peers have recognized them, so we're asking them to come and share a little chunk of their lives with us. It's not easy to do. How many of you guys love public speaking? Yeah. Brent does. Not many. So, I want them to be at ease. I want you guys to help us make that at ease. We hope tonight to learn a little bit about what makes them the people that they are, the successful business people that they are, and where did the lessons, their life lessons, their work lessons, and their mentorships come from. That's what I hope. As I've talked to everybody that's doing speeches tonight, that's kind of the theme that I asked them to deal with. As we learn a little bit about each of the speakers tonight, we're going to be enriched from that experience. Some of them we're going to know very well, some of them we're not going to know at all. But that's what makes this evening, my friends, the most special, unpredictable, surprising, poignant, and memorable night of the year for me, and I hope for all of you as well. How many of you were at the installation dinner, check the age bracket here, back in 2003 at the DoubleTree? Wow, maybe 5 or 6. Long gone, the fire took that away in 2017. The only reason I bring that up is those memories are still with me from that night. And I hope the installed officers, board members, and honorees tonight will look back at this evening 17 years from now and hold those memories dear to them like I did. After the speeches are all over, I hope you guys will join us out at the fire pit for cigars and pork, which has become an ECA tradition. And please enjoy your meal. Thank you for attending. Thank you for sponsoring. To all of our sponsors tonight, thank you for sponsoring. And I'll see you again and start the program after the meeting. Thank you guys. Can you all again, everyone? Mary tells me I got to keep it moving so we can get out of here before 1 a.m. Dan Fowler's going to have about an hour worth of comedy that he's going to do with us. Look forward to it. I definitely will. Watch my kid. All right. At this point, please allow me to thank our installation sponsors for tonight. Our sustaining members, business level, thanks to V. Dolan Trucking, R&S Trucking, Sound Ideas, Smith Dollar, and Sire Industries. Please give them all a big hand. Our corporate sustaining members deserve some love too. Please allow me to introduce RCX, Team Gelati, Gelati Construction, Northwest General Engineering, and Soil and Rock Company as our corporate sustaining member. As we're finishing our deals here, what do you guys think? Is this a little step up from the country club? Mary's very worried about the financial part, so, you know, if you got an extra buck or two, throw it to Mary. Anyways, Vintners Inn did a great job from hosting everything out in front. Thank you guys, Vintners Inn. Great job. And we thank our exec team and our board from 2019 for deciding to make a little shift from Santa Rosa Golf and Country Club and come to a different place. We really like this place. We hope the experience is not great, we know it is. We're a unique association. We depend on our sponsorships. So let's take a moment and consider the generosity of the sponsors for this year's event. Please, on your screen, oh look at that, it's like magic. We'd like to thank this year's bronze sponsor, Action Rents. Thank you very much. Always there for us. The event sponsors this year, Dessert and Coffee Bar, Argonaut Constructors and Sire Industries, Centerpiece sponsors, North Bay Petroleum and Northgate Ready Mix. Mary, who gets to take the centerpieces home?
Take them home, I don't want to.
This year's bar sponsors, Engelkey Construction, Gemini Rentals. How you got the dinner wine all by yourself, but V. Dolan is sponsoring the dinner wine tonight. Thank you very much. Champagne sponsors, R&S Trucking and W.A. Anderson Group. Champagne, nice touch. This year's port and cigar sponsors, Bodine and Pace. Drum roll, please. Our 42nd annual installation and award sponsors are President's Reception sponsors. This year, Gelati Brothers and Gelati Construction. Thank you guys. Ernsmeyer Award sponsors. Transtech Consultants and Stevenson Supply and Tractor Company. We are really blessed with a great group. They're generous, tip their hat towards history, and the ECA, like all, we like all these old folks, right, Mary? So we got to keep it moving though, because Mary's getting up there in age. I'm just saying. This could be a lawsuit soon. Somebody. What happened to our She's so amazing. So please enjoy looking at the original members of the ECA from 1972. We're very honored to have one of those original members with us tonight. Oh, this is where you come in, Dan. Please acknowledge Mr. Dick Dowd and his lovely wife, Pam. How are you, Dick? Dan had a question or two to ask, and he's going up here to ask it. First guy to get into city council. He's what? First city council.
Okay, it's my distinct honor to introduce my friend and one of my mentors, and just an all-around great guy for this community, and one of the founding members of this association right there, and the City of Santa Rosa Council member, Mr. Dick Dowd. Now there's one question that everybody in this room is just desperate to know, Mr. Dowd, now that you're an astute politician, is that last week there was a lot of political activity going on. And everybody here wants to know, was last week a good week for you, or was it a bad week for you? You can answer my question about me.
Well, what I can say to you, having had Dan as an employee of my company for many years, he always had tough questions like that to ask me. What are we going to do next? But the bottom line, and I've said this to a number of people this evening, is being on the city council, first of all, I did not put my name in as an applicant. There were 19, including myself. But I didn't do it until I went to a couple of city council meetings. And while the other 6 members have differences of opinion from me, and not all of them are in one place or another, they treat each other collegially. And I am very, very happy to be a part of that group, because that's how you find solutions. You don't do it by picking on each other. And I have found, while it's a lot of work to be on the city council, it's also with a group of people that they treat me well, I treat them well, and that's nice. So that part of it, to Dan's response, is it's tough, it's a lot of work, but that being said, I'm glad I'm doing it. The one thing I do want to say tonight, and then I'll give the mic back to John, is I was a part of the group that started Northern California Engineering Contractors Association, and there were names that are still prominent in the construction industry. My company shut down in the early 1990s, but we still have Argonaut, we still have, at that point it was only Gelati Brothers, and there was another company that was well represented, and that was Arthur B. Seery. And I know I won't be able to speak when Arthur B. Seery gets the award later, but I do want to tell you this story. We were meeting, all of us, trying to decide how are we going to get our organization to move forward, and Arthur B. Seery Sr. was there with Arthur B. Seery Jr. And the senior said, you know, this construction business has been a dog-eat business since I've been in it, and it'll always be a dog-eat business. And he walked out. But his son, Arthur B. Seery Jr., who's getting the award this evening, stayed. And he said, I'll deal with Dad later. And he was always a representative and a contributing member. And I'm so glad he's getting this award. Thank you.
And you guys didn't hear that, but Dick said, for all ECA members, free encroachment permits over the counter. Unbelievable. That's the kind of guy he is. As we look at our original ECA founders, Barry, yeah, these 5 gentlemen are the ones that signed the Articles of Incorporation back in 1976. And I've used their statements of purpose many times in the newsletter and other presentations. I'm not going to do it tonight. You'll see me quoted in the newsletters and so forth. But tonight, we're thrilled to be inducting one of our original founders, Arthur B. Seery Jr., as our posthumous Hermsmeyer Hall of Fame recipient a little later in the show. So that's a pretty cool thing. For now, I'd like to introduce a guy that is very near and dear to me personally. I was invited to the very first board meeting in Petaluma when TEAM was first formed. Big Daddy Glenn. Here, Glenn? Yeah. Papa Glenn introduced this new company in the middle of a recession that seemed like the dumbest goddamn thing I'd ever heard in my life. Team Gelati was formed in the biggest downturn we've ever seen. And I thought it was risky to say the least. However, with a great group of men and women supporting him, Glenn was able to build a company that not only survived, it thrived. And Kevin served as the ECA president last year, 2019, and did an outstanding job. Following in your dad's footsteps is tough. I had to do it. You had to do it on an even bigger scale. And Kevin's done it and has given his time to the ECA as well. And please acknowledge we're a better organization for having Kevin as our president last year, getting his insight. Look at this little guy crawling around over here. Please join me in welcoming up here and thanking Kevin Gelati for his service as one of our great outgoing ECA presidents.
All right, everybody. I'm not the greatest at pronunciation, and I'm probably going to fumble up some people's names, so just fair warning. All right, so I know we're all recuperating from the loss from the 49ers. It was very devastating. But how did I do as your guys' past president? Come on. Everybody. Yeah.
And note to self, no raise for Ginger. Okay.
I remember this time last year as I was nervous becoming the ECA president. Not only for the long list of successful past presidents, but given the devastating loss of my father Glenn. as I look back at my term as president, I must say the association did very well. I don't want to take all the credit, as my exec team was very supportive, involved, and true professionals. I want to thank Brett Wilms, Dave Weller, Josh Cleaver, and Walt Turner for their help during the year. We also had a great board of directors, and I appreciate all the help and dedication and for them being part of the ECA. I also want to thank the outgoing board members whose terms expired, Lacey Torkelson, Nick Keene, and Jason Holtzinger. Their service was very much appreciated during their time on the board. I would like to give a huge shout out to my Miss Mary Kennedy Cabrera. Yeah! And her squad of volunteers. At every event I saw Monica, Jenna, Laura, Karina, Gwen, Kathleen, and numerous others, always helping, always smiling, and most importantly, having a great time. The ECA knows how to put on spectacular events, and as some of you might have seen, I tend to quite enjoy them very much. Especially my two favorite events, Public Officials and the Wine and Dozers auction. All these events couldn't have happened without volunteers, so I thank you. So what did I set out to do, and what did I exceed this year? John had said to keep this short and only focus on one main accomplishment. When John and I sat down to discuss my goal, it became obvious that I wanted to reach out and acknowledge the everyday worker. It's my belief that the unsung heroes of our firms is the talented field personnel, whether that's your operators, your teamsters, cement masons, your laborers, and so on, that go on every day, rain or shine, and produce. Discussed some ideas on how to acknowledge these individuals and came up with the idea for the Golden Hard Hat Award. The first went to Gelati Construction's Antonio Mansorini. Close. Well, what is it? I say last name. Okay, I'm not going to try to repeat that. He was presented the award at the annual Public Officials Award in 2019, and if you were there, I think it meant something special. And so well-deserving, he got this award for his participation in the Miracle Leap project, which was completed last year. A well-deserving recipient and the person for the award and I hope that for years to come. Sorry, you guys. With that, it's my pleasure to announce that the nominating committee has chosen Dan Giordani. Is that right? Is he here? Of Argonaut Construction to receive this year's Golden Hard Hat Award. This will be presented at the Public Officials Night on April 23rd. I hope all you guys come out and enjoy the steak, the beer, the schmoozing with the public officials. It's truly one of my favorite events, and it's something that I always look forward to. I also want to point out that night we'll be honoring Suzanne Smith with the Sonoma County Transportation Authority for their tremendous hard work in managing the Highway 101 widening projects amongst all the other great work that they do. I cannot think of a better recipient for the Bridge Award than Suzanne. Once again, the Public Officials Night is Thursday, April 23rd. I encourage all you guys to come out, enjoy the night, and also Mary's looking for sponsors if you want to throw down. So as your past president, I just want to say that it's been an honor to be a part of the association, an association that thrives by its members, its committees, and by giving back to the community. I hope that I leave the ECA in a better position than it was yesterday. I had fun, I worked hard, I gave it my best. Knowing the Golden Hard Hat Award will continue to grow and empower our fellow peers gives me tremendous pride and satisfaction. Most importantly, I hope I made Glenn proud. I thank you for your time. Thanks a lot. Sorry, I'm being rude. Please welcome Gail to introduce Mr. Dave Weller as president.
I met Dave through the ECA. I can't count how many relationships I have established because of this organization. Being a member of the ECA has enhanced relationship opportunities for many, if not all of us. ECA represents a contractor and affiliate members of our industry and has done such a good job. I would like to say thank you to all members, volunteers, board, exec, and definitely our ECA staff. Dave Weller was born in Minnesota, and when he was a young child, he moved with his family to Colorado. In 1984, he graduated from Colorado School of Mines with a degree in engineering. It was in Colorado where he met his wife Robin, and in the 80s, those two crazy kids moved to California. In 1989, Dave began his construction career in California. He worked in San Rafael for several years before going to work for Kelly & Young in 1995. His first ECA event was Public Officials Night in 1998. Richard Owens took him and introduced him to Dan Fowler. About a week later, Dave was working for Fedco. During his time at Fedco, Dave served as president of the Redwood chapter of the American Subcontractors Association. In 2001, Frank Rosendi approached Dave and informed him he was joining the Specifications Committee for the Engineering Contractors Association. 7 years of effort paid off in not only getting standards revised, but David had forged many relationships within the construction industry. I met Dave around 2011 at an ECA board retreat. Our families then got together periodically and always had a great time. In 2013, Dave came to work for RCX and has certainly proven to be a very hardworking and dedicated professional. Dave enjoys a challenge. He accomplishes his goals by sticking to the task at hand. He believes in the work the ECA does and has shared some of his thoughts about what he is excited to explore. It will be great to watch his progress as he approaches the challenges this year. Dave is an excellent person to fill the position of president, not only from his construction background, but he is compassionate about those in need, about getting projects done that benefit the ECA, our community, and our industries. The Weller family is a family who seems to live and breathe construction. Dave has been a great mentor for his own children who are in civil engineering and land surveying. One of my favorite moments with Dave was when he spoke at his daughter Chelsea and son-in-law Scott's wedding. His true self was portrayed, for sure. And anyone who has seen Dave in that kind of light understands why he will be such a good president for our association. We often don't get the opportunity to witness true personal qualities of people we work with, and it's good to understand these qualities in people, especially when they are leading and representing an organization such as the ECA. It has been wonderful to have the opportunity to get to know Dave beyond his professional self. Dave is an avid outdoorsman, understanding that the importance of protecting our greatest resources is not political, it's the right thing to do. And this seems to be a good quality for someone filling a leadership role in this industry. It is important to protect our resources for generations to come. Some words of inspiration. Surround yourself with those you believe in and always remember to pay it forward. Be grateful and kind. Remember those who have helped us and consider those we want to help. I was excited to have the opportunity to introduce Dave tonight for several reasons. He is a very honest and forthright person, believes in fair for all, personally and professionally. It is his character that has made me a firm believer that he will be a very good president. It is a great honor for me to introduce your 2020 president for the Engineering Contractors Association, Mr. David Weller.
Wow. That was awesome. Thank you, Dale. Is it warm in here? Thank you. Really happy to be here. Proud to be here. Shout out to Gail. That was awesome. My speech is going to be a lot shorter. Thank you, Gail. Thank you, Randy. Thank you, Tom, for the opportunity to be doing what I've been doing, being a part of ECA. When John first approached me, of course I went to our ownership group. It's a commitment. It's a time commitment. The answer was absolutely yes. There was no doubt. Thank you guys. Really proud to have my family here tonight. My mom came from Arizona. My mom. One of 16 siblings. 16. You had to work, John. Good farm, works good. My daughter and son-in-law, Chelsea and Scott, are here. Came up from San Diego. And my son, Chris. And of course, she cheers me on. She volunteers at our events. Thank you, honey. That's awesome. It's a tough act to follow. Kevin, dude, you are a good speaker. There is no doubt. If I can do one thing this year, I'll be happy. That's good. It doesn't get any better than this. I am Dave Weller. I am your president this year. I'm glad to be doing it. One of my first honors is I get to introduce our board of directors. We got Tom Boylan, Boiling Point, Alex Clayton, Interwest Insurance, Kimber Carpenter, Kate on Trucking, Art Gecky, I don't think he was able to make it tonight, Environmental Solutions, Jay Janik, I thought he was going to be here, but I didn't see him. What? His back went out. That's going to cause problems later. Chris McComas, Moss Adams, Jeff O'Krupke, George Peterson Insurance, Ron Palmieri, Fire Industries. That were almost a good insurance. Daniel Powers, Don Renatz Insurance, Glenn Smith, Smith Dollar, Troy Solan, about time you got on the board. Bro, what was this back? No term limits here. Soyland Company. Laura MacArthur is moving to Texas. She's no longer going to be with us. She wasn't mentioned as a passport member. I wanted to shout out to her. That's our affiliates. We also have contractor members. We got 5 members. Mike Gorey's back on the board this year. Northwest. Dominic Nicio. Gelati Brothers. Antonio McCarty. Well, Antonio came out to our last spec committee. Really appreciate you being there. Golden Hard Hat Award winner. John Sayers Jr. Sayers Corporation. The Mark Winners from Oregon. I have a great board. Great executive committee. Past President Kevin. A little quiet over there. Walt Turner. North Bay Patrol Treasurer this year. Our Secretary, Eric Bauer. President, we already covered that. I've been with ECA for about 20 years. I bet you Dan Fowler sitting there. It's crazy, isn't it? No, I've been crazy. You know, when he hired me, I'd come into work and he'd go running off and he had his little binder under his arm and he's going, he was president. going to all the ECA meetings. I didn't know that would be me later on. But great inspiration. So, you know, I got to share. You know, Bill was great. He was great to work with, and one of the best things he ever shared with me was crow is best served warm. Nobody wants to eat it. Coach Hall had to. Really, just get it over with. Thanks, Bill. You know, we have 10, maybe more, past presidents that are here tonight. I wanted to reach out for them. I haven't seen the list up on the thing, but I brought one. In 1981, we had Dick Dow. He was also 2013 Hertzmeyer Hall of Fame Award winner. 98, we had Dan Fowler, that's when I got involved. Also 216 Contractor of the Year. 2003, our very own John Bly. 2007, I saw him crawling around on the floor here somewhere, Doug Hamilton. Doug is a 3-time Contractor of the Year. We got Mark Soyland, 2017 Affiliate of the Year. Eric Fowler, 2018 Hermsmeyer Award winner. 2015 Mike Foley, back on the board. 2018 Brett Willis, the craziest dude in the world. In 2019, who was the past president? Kevin was. I'm going to try and make this quick. I don't know. I'm going to try. So, a couple weeks ago, Gail asked me a question. She asked me, why do you want to be president of the ECA? My first response was, well, I really don't want to. But wait, who doesn't want to be president? Truth be told, I'm really proud to be here. I am proud to be president. But really looking back, it's why am I here? You know, what makes ECA tick for me? ECA's been good to me. Construction's good to my family. I love it. My dad was a industrial engineer. He built hospitals. I like the other things. I like working with people. I like working with our clients. I like working with the guys in the field. I even like working with the public officials. It's not always easy. But we got to. That's how we get our job done. You'll let the cat out of the bag. Frank Crescendi made me join the spec committee. It's like, Weller, these specs suck. So I got in there, and it was just me. I'd only been there a couple of years, killing young for a while. And I'll never forget that first meeting. Roger Hermsmeyer, Colin Zolli, host of people from the city, Colleen Ferguson, Cy Penman, still comes to our board, and Wayne Hermsmeyer. We had engineers, we had the city, we had contractors. Jim Hubbard, I think, was at that meeting. And it was important. It was really important because we were struggling. We weren't getting along with the public officials, with our inspectors on how we were getting the job done. We were failing. And we bridged the gap. It was a common ground that we were working towards. The city wants good roads. Our clients demand good product. We want to give it to them, but we want to do it right the first time. We don't want to be figuring it out. And it was a great stepping stone. And thanks for pushing me. It's not the only time you push me, but we'll talk about that later. That's one part of ECA, and that's part of giving back. I didn't want to be there, I did because I had to be there. But some of the best things are community relations projects, and I'm proud of them all. We've done 18 of them in the last 20 years. Petco and RCX, huge support. Everybody in this room is a huge supporter of our community relations project. I remember Frank Rizzetti and Danny Doherty and Patrick Scott got hit by a car or something, and they just, we're doing this pathway. Rodney Stevenson stepped up, donated a lot of materials. You can tell the story better than I can, but it was something to see. ECA got involved, and we were recognized for it. Ron Powers, yes. So, alright, I'm going to digress. I'm off track here. It's Bill's fault. Bill's the one who got up here and kept it really short last time. I'm trying. So, Dan had a saying, you know, if you can't be there and do the times, then donate the money. I encourage you all to donate, give generously. Right? Right? So, Frank Rizzetti, he took it a step further. He didn't just give money, he gave people. Got me in there, Ron Powers. I don't know how many projects Ron did, but he was proud to do it. Glad to help. Dan introduced me to Ambrosia with Christopherson Homes, and we introduced the Aston Avenue Battered Women's Shelter in 2005. My voice is grumbling. And what a great project. It was fun. I got to be the project manager of it. I was part of it. We did. Thank you. We did the grading. We got a lot of contractors involved. Somebody different did the grading, the underground, sewer storm drain. We broke it up. And it was just a great one. It was great to be part of that. And Express, I was one of our RCX, really got involved. I'm just proud. But sometimes, you know, there's projects that I don't get involved in. And I feel bad. I feel jealous, like Miracle League. You know, Forestville Youth Project, another great project, went to the barbecue for it, and I couldn't believe it went there helping. It was a really good project. So for me at ECA, it comes down to the people. It comes down to what we're doing. Like Bill Omo, like Henry Harjack, Contractors of the Year, Gail Cochran and the Education Committee. She was on the Education Committee. She hired a couple of young individuals from the interviews. I'm glad they are still working at RCX today. And they're becoming new people. They'll soon be our foremen. They'll be our leaders. They're taking over. When they're young and they're involved and they want to be there, it's huge. Fast forward to today, Doug Hamilton, you're incredible. I can't say enough for what you're doing with workforce development. Thank you. ECA's got a lot of great people, and sometimes you don't see it coming, it just kind of happens. Mike Lopez was one of those kind of people, and it's what makes me proud, it's why I'm here, it's why I participate. Hispanics in the workplace, it just took off, it was great, it outgrew us. It was cool, it was cool. I really wasn't sure if I would bring this part up, but I think I'm here and I'm going to do it. I went on our website, right, and we didn't get very far. And, you know, things get rated, but there's the Yelp. You know, we got 2 stars, only 2 stars. Anybody been on, seen the Yelp? Well, we got to fix that. 2 stars is not enough. And the caption was, parking lot bandits are lame. We're not lame. We're not boring. We get back to our community. We drive big trucks. We got big tractors. We build roads. We build hospitals. We build parks. It's fun. It's fun. almost there. So we got a lot to look forward to. At our strategic planning retreat, we looked at some different stuff. We looked at the past, we looked at the founding fathers, the Articles of Incorporation. Really cool having Arthur B. Seary Jr. up here tonight with us. Thank you. The goals back then are the same goals today. Establish and maintain high moral professional standards. Encourage sound business methods. And the list goes on. The more we go, where we go. Man, that's not real book. Yeah. We also looked around. We discussed our committees. We discussed our events. What's working, what doesn't working. We're trying to mix things up. You know, being here at John Ash, it's just the first step. I'm excited about the future of ECA. John and Mary, all the volunteers, what you guys do, it's incredible. I thank you. We have a plan for the future. We're going to continue what we did yesterday. We need to continue to do today and tomorrow. It's important. We need to carry that mission on. So, John Bly, I want to thank you a lot. And I want to remind Ash Bundy, it's really important. It's really important. Thank you so much for being out there and doing what you're doing. I love the newsletters. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dave. Look forward to working with you this year. One correction. So very sorry that we have a typo in there. Dominic did not go to work for Gelati Construction. He's still working for Gelati Brothers. I know. Well, you have 2 paychecks. And at this point, I'd like to lighten it up just a little bit. We keep talking about the volunteers. It's time for Mary Kennedy to come up here and take the microphone for just a moment so she can thank last year's Volunteer of the Year. Come on up, Mary Kennedy Cabrera. I don't know what she's going to say, but for all of the people that volunteer their time at every one of these events, everybody that does this does it to make sure we all have a great time, whether it's the car show, public officials, they give of their own time, and I'm giving it to Mary. All right, thank you.
I do not speak. Eat the mic. Okay. I don't do this. Okay. Coordinating ECA events for the last 13 years, having good volunteers is very important. To have a successful event. You count on them to do the things that you're not able to do. Make sure the events will run smoothly. Checking their guests, collecting payments, registering cars, selling raffle and all the things they do it all. Every year we honor a volunteer for their exceptional contributions to our events. This year we have chosen the Monica Newton Volunteer Group. Monica just happens to work here at the Vintners Inn, and so for planning this installation, I actually worked a lot with her, and she told me what I needed to do. So that was kind of a change. I'm fortunate to know Monica since she was a baby. She played with my daughters, Genevieve and Rebecca. Growing up, she was just as sweet then as she is now. I've watched her become a loving, caring, compassionate young woman. Monica started volunteering at the Father's Day car show in 2011, even though while living in Sacramento, going to school. She would come here on Father's Day weekend and help with the show. She helps every Father's Day, sewing t-shirts or selling beer.
Thank you.
Yeah. Since that time, she started to help with the auction with golf tournament. She told me today she helps with the public at business night. Whatever's needed, Monica's there. I'm so grateful for Monica's help and commitment to our events, and truly do love her like my niece, as she does call me Aunt Mary. Let me introduce you to Monica Newton, Volunteer of the Year.
I just wanted to say it's been a pleasure volunteering with ECA for the last well over 10 years now. And it's been a pleasure seeing all your faces throughout the events, and I feel really blessed to get to know you guys. And I love the enthusiasm and the care and joy all of you have for what you do and for the association. So, thank you.
Well, that was sweet. I'll wait till she gets back there, but we're going to talk about the affiliates of the year, the doers of the ECA events. Back in the ancient history, the affiliates ran all the events. Did you guys know that? The contractors didn't do crap. All we did was show up. The affiliates did it all. And that's news for this year at Troy. The affiliates are going to do it all from now on. The contractors take a year off. Anyways, affiliates shouldn't be undervalued or underappreciated at all. They're an integral part of this association, and you see the Affiliate of the Year awards up there. There's a lot of really cool people up there, very deserving. This year's Affiliate of the Year, none other than Troy Soylent, North Cape, Pennsylvania. Congratulations, Troy. Look at that, first standing ovation of the night.
Thank you, John. Not my comfort zone, people. I'm a doer, not a talker. 25 years ago, back in the quarry business, Dean and I talked about making concrete with quarried rock someday. We had attended numerous Board of Supervisors meetings back in the 90s where industry experts professed that river and terrace mining must be allowed to continue, as they claimed that quarried aggregates were unsuitable for concrete. This posed a challenge to us young 30-year-olds. We viewed it as a mountain to climb, but it took a few years to climb it. 10 years ago, Dean and I decided to start Northgate Ready Mix, and today we're making excellent concrete with quarried Mark West rock and contributing to this community. This, ladies and gentlemen, was indeed a big mountain to climb, and standing up here tonight is a dream come true. gratitude, I thank the ECA, the Executive Committee, the Nominating Committee, and the Board of Directors for this honor. Mom and Dad, I thank you for a moral compass, for the structure of church every Sunday morning, and dinner prayer. In my life of 30 years, Don. Strong, courageous, ambitious. She's our CFO. She's our controller. She handles all our legal and accounting. She has set up all our office systems. She oversees everyone in the office. She's amazing. And she's on the golf committee. To Brother Dean. Dean and I were 2 years apart in school. We went to high school together. We went to college together. We owned our first house together. Together with our wives, Dawn and Belinda, we formed a partnership 20 years ago with some investment properties, and we continued that partnership 10 years ago with Northgate Ready Mix. Dean and Belinda, I wouldn't be up here tonight without you. To the Bodine Company, your lab was tremendous. Josh and Sella, with your excellent advice and assistance in getting me started with submittals to do state work, county work, city work, was a huge help. And I thank the Bodine Company for supplying us with clean, crisp, dense, quality stones. Thank you. To Tom Easter and Spencer Reed, together we're the heartbeat of Northgate operations. You guys are excellence on display every day. Thank you. Without our customers, I wouldn't be here tonight either. I wanted to talk about some struggle and hardship. It's not all bed of roses. And my journey through life has had a lot of struggle and hardship. All business related, all self-imposed, but that's the life of an entrepreneur. I call these mountains and valleys, the ups and downs of my business life. In my 20s, after college, I asked Dad if I could learn the pipe business from the ground up. He put me on the water main crew at the Soylent Company. I started out just like Doug Hamilton, digging kickers by hand with a bar and shovel. I was learning a valuable trade, working with experienced journeymen, some of the best in their field. I really felt that I had to excel, and I felt that I had to prove my worth. That I wasn't just the boss's kid. And over time, I learned to anticipate the crew's next moves, to have that tool or fitting ready for them before they asked for it. Soon I was reading plans, helping lay out the job. I think overall, I learned that if you want to be excellent at your job, you've really got to put forth the energy and the effort to earn that. You know, if you want to be excellent at your job, you have to put forth the energy and the effort to earn that. And that was my mindset. And that's where I feel I developed the value of excellence. In my 30s, this was a turning point, and I began an entrepreneurial life. And this was when tough times began. I can't detail all the tough times, but you'll get the point. My wife and I started a quarry in Bodega Bay. This was certainly a valley. There were no customers, there was no equipment, there was no office, there was no electricity. We had to start from scratch. We had to buy equipment and develop a market for our products. I learned to target markets that my competitors were not targeting. Jerry Engelke actually was an early customer. I don't remember exactly what we talked about, but Jerry was always encouraging me. In those early days, before we bought our own crusher, we hired Richard Seary to bring in his portable crusher, and his son Darren came and they crushed Class 2 base for us in the beginning to expand our marketing mix. Periodically, I'd have a job I'd be all excited about. I was told I had the job, and then I'd go by and visit the job a few days later, and somebody else had done the job, and I didn't. Those kind of things are a real gut check to a young business person. Anybody in business knows those feelings of not getting that job that you were really counting on. These were times when we were really worried about failing and losing our house. There was a lot of period of feeling that you were getting knocked down, but I had to keep getting up. I had a wife, I had a house payment to make, and I had a business that I was going to will to succeed. I had many other failures that I'm not going to mention tonight, but the bottom line is I had to get over them. And I had to let those failures, not let those failures define me. This early self-employed period is when I developed a strong work ethic. The time clock became irrelevant. And also during this period, my challenges and the struggles in business really helped me value my wife and bring us closer. Which brings me to my next value, which is stewardship. The definition of stewardship is the careful and responsible management of something entrusted to one's care. Being a good steward of our family heritage and reputation became important to me, which I see as good stewardship for everything that is entrusted to me. Marv was a proud man and a man of honor. It's my goal to be a good steward of my family name, my responsibilities, and my relationships. My goal is to bring the value of excellence and work ethic together in Northgate Ready Mix and to practice stewardship over this company. I love to work, I love my job. And a few closing words of encouragement is to be gentle and treat others with respect. And don't be afraid to fail. When you fail, just get back up and do it again. Keep trying. I keep climbing mountains in life, and that keeps me out of valleys. And finally, when you love your job, and you've got great chemistry with your coworkers, savor it. Pause and reflect on it, because nothing stays the same. Nothing lasts forever.
few kernels in there that I think we all can grab a hold of and put them back into our life and so forth. Troy, thank you very much for opening your hearts and sharing all that with us tonight. Tough act to follow. Everybody remembers Mike Smith Jr.'s speech last year, another guy that's not used to the microphone, teared up half the audience. Contractor of the Year Award. I'm so proud to be able to welcome a longtime contractor in our area to introduce this year's Contractor of the Year honoree, Jerry Engelke. So please join me in giving a big ECA welcome to Jerry Edinger. Everything and anything Healdsburg, right, Jerry?
John said something about being nervous in 2003 when he came up here for the first time. You can imagine how nervous I am because I'm probably the only person in this room that still uses 12 inches in inches to make a foot. You guys are all 10 and all that stuff. So I got less nervous when Dick Dowd said that we were all going to get in touch with this. That was nice. That's pretty good. So I feel very honored I felt very honored when asked to introduce your choice to the Engineer of the Year Award. I called John Blind in hopes that he could give me some ideas of what has been said in the past and how to proceed. John told me it was really easy to say something nice and be very short. I worked on an outline for a few hours, found it's not really easy, but I will try and accomplish people. For the last 35 years, our company has partnered with Engelke Construction on many projects. Together we worked on and completed 4 major community projects in Healdsburg. The skate park, Healdsburg Rec Park, Plaza Gazebo, the Oak Swim Center. Their comment when we have asked them to help us with these volunteer projects is always the same. It's how can we help and when do we start? Both of our companies are very family oriented. I think Jerry now has about 8 or 9 family members in the office now. His wife Joanna, who by the way is his cousin. Both his children, his nephews, his brothers and sisters have all been a part of the firm's success. I think the only one that's not there now is Lee, and he's helping a lot of things. Since 1985, Engelke Construction has been our go-to company for most of our projects because we know they do it right. Jerry's company is a carbon copy of Jerry himself, built on the old-fashioned principles of being true to your word, providing good customer service and quality of work. Jerry's tried really hard in the past few years to keep us informed and ahead of the game when it comes to all the never-ending regulations enforced by the state, the River Keeper, Army Corps of Engineers, and many other groups which seem to pop up from time to time and slow us all down. So I want to congratulate my good old friend Jerry Engelke for being awarded Contractor of the Year by the Engineering Contract Association of Northern California. Jerry is exactly the type of contractor and businessman we need, and this award is well deserved. Well, when John started, he mentioned, when John first started, he said something about people getting up here and being uncomfortable speaking in front of the group, and that was me who was speaking. Thank you, Jerry. That was really nice introduction. Really appreciate it. I'd like to thank the ECA nominating committee, board of directors, and their generosity in awarding me the 2020 Contractor of the Year. This is a special honor because it's being presented by the ECA and the people who selected me. ECA is respected for their many accomplishments that serve not only the members, but the construction industry and our entire community. These benefits are achieved by the hard work and dedication of the men and women who serve on the staff, board of directors, and the various committees. We just think back a couple of years ago, the ECA was a leader in organizing both the cleanup and the rebuilding of our community after the devastating wildfires. Since childhood, I always wanted to be a contractor, like my father. He started business after he graduated from high school in 1938. He began again at the end of World War II after serving in the Navy in the War of the Pacific. His business was named Young Energy Company. My brothers and sister and I were really fortunate kids. We were raised next to our grandparents on their ranch just outside of Healdsburg. Being raised on our ranch afforded us a lot of opportunities. We just learned a lot of things from how to pick wild mushrooms and not poison yourself to how to operate and maintain farm machinery. Our most valuable lesson, and this was taught by my parents and grandparents both, was the value of work and satisfaction that goes with a job well done. Out of high school, I attended Santa Rosa Junior College. I only stayed 3 semesters. School just wasn't my thing at that time. I went to work for my dad as equipment operator. Worked away from home, long hours, but I loved it. I wanted to become a proficient equipment operator. It might allow me to work up to a foreman, and I hoped one day be able to help my dad manage his company. Well, Dad left the contracting business to fulfill a lifelong dream he had, becoming a civil engineer. He graduated from UC Davis and soon after passed the state exam, becoming a registered civil engineer. He was in his 50s at the time. I was really disappointed with the lost opportunity, but I was proud of Dad for achieving his goal. In the mid-1970s, I decided to strike out on my own. I'd been working for a local contractor, Wally St. Clair at the time. I told Wally of my plans. He offered me a few words of encouragement, wished me well. Then he looked me straight in the eye and he said, "Get used to being in debt." I neglected to ask him how deep in debt and how long. Wally told me to help me any way he could, and true to his word, he soon hired me with the machine I just purchased, and I'm forever grateful to Wally and Madge St. Clair. They gave me my start. I worked the rest of the season for them until the rain started. Soon earned a contractor's license and continued on my own, long hours, but I loved it. My brother Lee and I joined forces and started Engelke Brothers in 1985. It was a family business. Our brother Dick, sister Patty worked with us.
my son Chip, Dick's sons Rich and Jim, and later on when he got old enough, Lee's son Gary got their start in construction, working after school and weekends. We did well, grew slowly, up until that 1992 recession hit. I failed to see what lay ahead, and I didn't make very good decisions early on. However, in time, I finally realized what we were facing, made that better decisions. We made it through, a little worse for wear, but a lot smarter. We continued operating until 2000. We were having some growing pains at the time. That recession took its toll on us. We just couldn't seem to couldn't get on step like we were before the recession. We were burned out, tired, and we decided to close up shop. As things were winding down, I had a change of heart. I could not leave the construction business. I loved it. It was part of me. This provided an opportunity to catch my breath, and I gained a new perspective. A little like we're returning from a much-needed vacation. This also allowed time to reflect, take inventory. We still had some equipment, some work on hand, and a lot of long-term relationships. And we still had a lot of our clients, the Ettinger family being among them. Our biggest asset, however, was how I felt. I felt confident, optimistic, committed. I was ready to hit the ground running. With my wife, Joanna, I continued business with a renewed appreciation for what I'd always loved and relationships formed over the years. I'm so grateful for Lee's hard work and dedication in helping build our business. I'm so glad he continues to do well with Gelati Construction. We have operated as Engelke Construction since that time. The road to this point has had some twists, turns, as well as a few chuckles, like the 2008 recession, and I'm sure that's still fresh in everybody's mind. Although profits were a bit elusive, lessons from the previous recession served us well. We were able to hold our place in line. As the recovery gained momentum, we were able to jump on board. I've stepped back a little bit. Today, it's my son Chip, my nephews Rich and Jim, and daughter Brandy. They're the ones really running the day-to-day operation. I get so much satisfaction working with them, and I'm really proud of the job they're doing. One thing that makes this business so rewarding is the lasting relationships developed over the years with people I admire and respect, contractors and affiliates. Many of you are seated in this room. You've all been so generous, you've gone out of your way, and you've helped us in so many ways. Without you, I would not be standing here receiving this award tonight. I once again would like to thank the ECA nominating committee and board of directors for your generosity in giving me this award. I'd like to thank my wife, Joanna, who's worked beside me in the business, in addition to being a wife, a mother, and a grandmother. I've always had her support. She's always given me a soft place to fall. She's my partner in the business and my best friend. There's the key people I just mentioned in our business: Chip, Brandy, Rich, and Jim. But I'd also like to thank their spouses for understanding and tolerating their long and sometimes irregular hours. I thank my family for their love and support. My daughter Lizzie, brothers Dick, Lee, and sister Patty. Also their spouses and their children. My many nieces, nephews, and grandchildren. All awesome young people. Thank you all. This has been a memorable evening. Thank you.
Jerry didn't think he was a very good speaker. I think that shows when you speak from the heart, the message gets across and we all pay attention, and it's worth listening to, and thank you so much, Jerry, for your heartfelt comments. Friday I rode the SMART train with Keith Woods. Keith, are you here? Right there. So I rode the SMART train with Keith Woods, and we took the ferry and so forth, and I was beside myself when I got back. I figured I'd lost my checkbook the night before, and I couldn't find it, so I went to the bank. I did all the crap you're supposed to do, checks. This is so wonderful. I got this checkbook back, but there's a check written to Keith Woods for $10,000. Thank you, Keith. I left it in your car, obviously. And thanks for leaving me a couple bucks. Anyways, when I came to on board in 2010, the ECA gave out the Hermsmeyer Award sporadically. And it was honored to major contributors to the ECA, not to the industry itself. Induction into the Hermsmeyer Hall of Fame kind of was something that you bought into with service to the ECA, and I thought we should expand it. We're missing an awful lot of contributors to the community and to the industry. Roger was on my board of directors at Kirk McFly. We had a great relationship. He sucked me into the ECA with the Patrick Scott pathway back in 1998 or so. Frank Rosendi, which I found out 2 or 3 years ago, was one of the spearheaders of that whole community relations project. But anyways, I'm happy Roger got me involved in the ECA, obviously. His namesake award is now recognized as an annual honor bestowed upon one living and one posthumous recipient every year, based upon a lifetime of achievements to our engineering contracting industry, not to the ECA in particular at all. And as you can see from the list, in particular note, 2016 was obviously one of the better years. I have no idea what they decided on that one, but anyways, I'm very honored and proud to be up there with a lot of great names and great contributors. At this point, I'd like to welcome to the podium somebody that doesn't need any introduction, but he's going to get a little bit of one, just because we go way back, my friend. For many years, Doug Hamilton has given his time, his energy, prodigious energy, to the industry and to the youth. He's taught at Sonoma State, with Gail's help at the very beginning, and Doug's shepherding the construction corps, and now with Gelati Brothers spearheading it down in Marin County, has attained heights that we could only dream about a few years ago. Thank you, Keith, for all your guys' work with that as well. Introducing youth to the industry, getting them involved, teaching them life lessons. If anybody's had the opportunity to go out there on Saturdays, when you give your little spiel, no Mountain Dew, no sweets, show up to work on time. On time means 15 minutes early, show some anyways. They're life lessons that every young person in the industry, whatever industry, should grab a hold of and remember forever. I can't thank you enough, and I can't think of a more deserving award winner of the Hermsmeyer Hall of Fame Award than Doug Hamilton, Oak Grove Construction.
Okay, wow, tremendous honor. This is not something that you start or progress through your career looking for or thinking about. And I'm pinching myself to see if I'm still alive because I didn't know if I was a posthumous one or not. I don't want tonight to be necessarily about me. I want tonight to be about you, or at least my portion of the speech. One of the, when John and I talked in my preparation for my comments tonight, he wanted me to share kind of some of the wisdoms, Doug-isms that I've learned over 40 plus years in business. And one word that kept sticking in my mind is integrity. That's something I try to stand for, but I want to shout out to Jerry Aguichi again. There is no one that is a greater example of integrity than Jerry, so congratulations. I do a lot of teaching about this industry, but there's some lessons I haven't learned. So when you look at the Jalatis and the Soylands and the Smiths, like, no one in my family wants to own business. So I don't know what getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning is all about, but my kids are too smart for that stuff. So what I want to do is kind of speed you through 40 years of the construction industry. And I was blessed, and I don't know whether it was destined or not, but half the people on these award lists, I've had the pleasure and the joy of working underneath for my entire career. So I kind of feel like it's somewhat destined that I learned a lot. So I want to take you back to, I was in college, I was looking for a job, I didn't have any construction experience, much like many of the students we're trying to teach today. I turned in 50 applications and resumes to contractors in Moravian County. I got one response. It was from Kevin's grandfather, Dave Gelati, and I walked in, I had an interview. He had a little man doll sitting on his desk, and it says, "You want what?" with a question mark. So I said I was looking for a job, and forget the vernacular, he says, "Son, you don't know shit. But you're willing to work, I'll give you a try," and he pounded on that little doll, and his pants dropped out and he peed on me. So I have 40 years of stories and 39 and a half I can't share with you about my beginnings in the industry. But for those of you, and we're really all brothers and sisters, we've been working together for so many years. I started off with Major and Gelati. When I got out of college, I went to work in the ditch for Mars Soyland. I started off as a laborer. I worked with Troy and Monica and Mark and Dean, the whole family, and had 5 years with Soyland Company, 5 years with Rad, Richard Dowd, and then 13 and a half years at North Bay Construction, and the rest of my time with Oak Grove. I want to take you back to what I refer to as the old days, for some of us that still have gray hair, and everybody had a nickname, right? And so you'll hear some chuckles, but we had Bones, Hair Lip, Dizzy Dave, Sonny, Lizard, and Luther. Panic remembers Luther. But everybody had a nickname, and I didn't really remember what my nickname was. So a couple years ago, I was riding my bicycle, and I just come up the waterfall from the coast and down into Occidental. And the guy riding with me, his saddle got loose, and he needed an Allen wrench, so we pulled up to the hardware store there in Occidental. There's this fat old guy smoking a cigarette in a rocking chair in front. And I said, "Hey, can we borrow an Allen wrench?" And he goes, "We sell tools here, we don't loan them out." Jerk. So I gave my buddy 20 bucks, he goes in to buy a set of Allen wrenches that he needs for 5 seconds. And I look at this guy and he goes, "Is your name Bill Reed?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, "You remember me, Doug Hamilton?" Zoyline Company, 1981, Ignacio Industrial Park, Armco Truss Pipe. And he's like, no. I go, Digital Drive? You don't remember all the guys? And he goes, no. And I take my helmet off and my glasses and I go, brain dead? He goes, oh, brain dead. God, great to see you. So, you know, my name now is Doug Hamilton. Call me brain dead. Good to go. Over the 40 years, there are some words of wisdom that I kind of picked up and I want to share with you all tonight. And again, this is for as you all go forward. I'm not done yet. I still got some fight left in me. But there's some things that I've learned over the last 40 years, and some of which that I can give credit to specific people on. A quote I got my first year working for Soyland, and was not from Marv. You will never be successful in this business because you are too honest. And I thank you for this award tonight because you all have just acknowledged that my honesty has paid off. My first day on the job, I was reported to a guy named Ken Anderson. We referred to him as Bones or Lizard after we became friends. And I showed up, introduced myself, and I said, I'm here to work for you. And he goes, what union are you in? I said, I'm not in the union, I work in the office. And he said, are you one of those college beep beep beeps that Marv hired to teach me how to do my job? And I said, I turned down 7 offers across the country to work for this jerk. So for the next 2 months, I did everything, and all I heard was, hurry up, brain dead. Hurry up, brain dead. It still echoes in my mind. My wife still says if I don't get stuff. So I got to the point where I couldn't even tie my shoes. I was going to quit. And then I finally realized I'm going to outsmart this Okie. So what I started doing was running everywhere, right? I pick a fire hydrant up, I grab a piece of pipe, I'd run everywhere, and it made him laugh. And I broke him. So where does this go? Bones, 5 years later, is working for me, right? And he digs Davey and I out of a cave in 18 feet deep in Jerrystown at Healdsburg and saves our lives, okay? Then for the next 35 years, I'm obligated to buy him lunch or dinner once a month. And bless him, he passed away a couple years ago. Part of the story is the camaraderie or the relationships that we built over the years. Jerry Engelke's a phone call away. He knows all he's got to do is pick up the call, he's got to get an answer, direct and honest, as is most everyone in this room. And as I look for you all going forward, I hope that you carry that forward also. So some of the Doug-isms that I've learned over the years, do it safely, do it right, and then figure out how to make a profit. Okay? It took me a long time to do the profit side, but I worked on it. Something I'll credit to the U.S. Marines is adapt and overcome. Okay? No day is perfect. You might have a good one now and then. I've never been bored. How many people do you know that are in their 30s or their 40s, they're just dragging through their job? I'm in my 60s and I still love what I do every day. So that's the message that I want us to share with the young adults as we try and bring in the next generation of workers. Train your replacement. It's kind of an interesting concept. It's like, wait a minute, I need job security. At 62, I don't need job security. I need someone else to do this stuff for me. So train your replacement. This one I credit to Wayne Harold Fisher on a Friday night across from Airport Boulevard. We were running a 22-inch sewer line underneath the 101. The Bantam excavator got stuck in the mud. It was pouring down rain. I had a date with a hot pilot. We didn't have cell phones back then. I couldn't cancel it. And we get about 150 feet of pipe in the ground, and the transite coupling would break. I wanted to die. It just, life cannot get any worse. And Wayne just smiled and he says, Doug, they all get built. And that stuck with me for 40 years. They all get built. So you might have a bad day, you might not get it done on time, you might run over budget, but they all get built, and I encourage you to carry that one forward. I was at a presentation for construction students about 3 months ago, and I was asked, Mr. Hamilton, have you ever asked for a raise? The answer was no.
I did.
My entire career, I never asked for a raise. I was recognized by my efforts. And so when I look at the younger generation coming up, there's another phrase, and I'm not sure Dick said this, but I know he thought it: show me, don't tell me. And show me consistently. So that was one. Another one is come early, stay late, find something to do, make your boss look good, and make his or her life easier, right? These are kind of secrets to success that whether you feel them or not, is what paved the way for me. Someone gets credit for this. You got 2 ears and 1 mouth, use them in that proportion. I didn't quite listen to that. But as I've gotten older and tried to stay married, I thought it was a good idea. This is a big one. I've had 5 employers in the last 50-something years, and I remain personal friends with every employer that I ever had. And they advocated for me, and I advocated for them. So my message is, it matters how you leave, okay? Unless your name's Gelati, you're probably not going to stay at the same company for 127 years or whatever they are up to this year. But it matters how you leave. It's a small industry. You have a reputation. Maintain that. Okay. Another one is, we refer to it as women in construction. If you're not ready for women in construction, get out of the way. Okay? We have a staffing shortage. I credit myself with this quote: you don't need facial hair to be successful in this business. One of my greatest honors, and again, I grew up in this business, Paige Gelati, Marv Storyland, Dick Dowd, John Varela. One of my greatest joys was being asked by the Soylent family to speak at Marv's 80th birthday party. He was an icon, and to be asked to speak about his career and his legacy is one of the greatest honors I've ever received. I've never been bored. The ECA, when I look at what the ECA stands for and what I would like to wish for us to continue to go forward, is the community service projects that we did for so many years. And I know it's difficult, but for so many years it was 5 or 6 affiliates and contractors that made these things happen. They were $50,000, $60,000 things. What I encourage you and I challenge us all to do is take that mission of service and pass it down to our employees. Okay? It's fine that we give up our money or we pay our people to go do it, but it's only going to really work if our employees support that mission and say, I want to give also. So it's not just us writing checks. So I hope that you all can take that forward. I promised I wouldn't tell the story about the broken penis bone lawsuit. It was $10,000. Okay, I credit this one to my friend Robert Goldman. When somebody shows you who they are, who they really are, repeatedly, believe them, right? So that was kind of interesting. Treat your boss's business as if it were yours. Okay, think about that. How many times do you see somebody taking 5 gallons of fuel home or taking a shovel or like, oh, I'm kind of tired. But if they were at your house and they showed up 15 minutes late and they were talking on the phone or they're messing around, you feel cheated. So that's a message we need to pass on to our employees, right? You don't get paid to be here. You get paid to be a profit center, okay? And if we pass that message on, our lives as managers are going to be easier, and the reward to our employees will be better. They need to learn, and by us setting an example, come early, stay late, be a profit center. You know, if you can hit 12 home runs out of the ballpark in the major league, you're worth $14 million. Right? But if you show up late and you're not drug-free and you damage the equipment, you don't maintain it, you don't deserve a job in this industry. A couple more. I want to thank DCA Board for this tremendous honor, and for the nominating committee. This is huge. I want to thank my family for coming from all over the United States Kansas, San Diego, Washington State, chasing my grandson around the floor. This is something we do on a regular basis. Thank you all. What I ask going forward, one of my greatest accomplishments in my legacy has really been the North Bay Construction Corps. For many, many years, through the ECA, we were going out to high schools and we were trying to sell how wonderful this industry is. We make good money, we have, you know, we're charming. We don't have to get dressed up except for twice a year for this and the wine and dozer thing. Side story, my mom says I'm the only one she knows that went to 5 years of college so he wouldn't have to wear a shirt at work. And that was kind of true. I had the best tan at Soyland Company, third best tan. The best tan was Lauren Whaley, and he was black. And the second best tan was Jimmy Tenaza, and he was Puerto Rican. But you know, back in those days, you know, we don't wear our shirt at work, and it was kind of cool. Nowadays, that's a safety violation. I want to thank Sonny Handy. His nickname was Kaiser, or actually it's not his nickname, but when no one would give me a chance, no one would teach me anything because I was a college kid, Sonny said, just follow me. And I ran around like a little jackrabbit, but at that time TransI pipe was 13 feet long, and he'd be on one end and I'd be on the other. I'd run around like a rabbit all day long, and we just laid the same piece of pipe. So I don't know where Sonny is these days, but I thank him for the lessons and the discipline to make me a good worker. Last but not least, we'll find it here. My wishes and prayers for our industry and for the ECA is that may each of us in our own time identify candidates for whom we can commit to be a mentor. May we continue to build a strong camaraderie amongst our peers, our vendors, our designers, and our agency representatives. May we never lose touch with the old school work ethic entrusted or entrenched in us by our predecessors. May we be agents of service to the communities which we serve, and may each of you build a legacy you will forever be proud of. Thank you.
We made it. We're at the last speech. Thank you very much, Doug. That was very entertaining and a lot of good stuff in there. Arthur Seary Jr. I didn't know too much about him other than looking at him on the you know, the list of the founders and so forth. And then Sonoma Raceway came out with their 50th anniversary of Sears Point Sonoma Raceway. I don't know how many of you got that thick pamphlet, that booklet that shows you know, how it was all built. Anyways, I was thumbing through it in 1968. I see Arthur B. Seary doing the initial 500,000 yards of work at Sears Point, and I thought, what a very fitting tie-in to the Hall of Fame Award recipients tonight. So anyways, Richard Seary is going to introduce posthumously the Hermsmeyer Hall of Fame Award to Arthur B. Seary Jr. So please join me in welcoming Richard Seary.
Yes, a little bit of a mistake there. Arthur B. Seary Jr. is still alive. We're going to talk about his father, Arthur B. Seary Sr. That's him right there. Okay, Art Seary Sr. was born in Palisade, Nevada in 1911. Palisade was a railroad town that about 30 miles, I think, west of Elko. About the age of 25, he borrowed $2,500 from a relative, which I believe was Felix Siri, who was Piombo Construction, and established a grading and paving company in Santa Rosa. He formed Siri and Kane Construction Company in Guerneville about 1941. Established a branch of Arthur B. Siri Incorporated in Ukiah with brother Ted around 1948, which was later renamed Absco, which was Arthur B. Siri Company. About this time, he had a rock quarry on Petaluma Hill Road. I think there's a street there going up the hill that has Siri's name on it. Now, during the late 40s and through the 50s, Arthur B. Siri Company in Ukiah, managed by brother Ted, finished, graded, surfaced, and maintained approximately 30 miles of private road for the Masonite Corporation. During this time, Art, Ted, and Wes Wilson formed Albion Logging Company and logged for Masonite Corporation. They had log trucks with 12-foot bunks that hauled 50-ton plus loads. I think the criteria for the height of the load was an underpass called Wally's Underpass, and I think it was 14 to 15 feet clearance, so it was, that's how tall they could load the trucks. The Masonite Road was somewhat unique in that only the westbound corners had supers. The eastbound side of the road was flat. And this was because the log trucks were loaded so high and so heavy, if they got onto the super side of the road, they turned over. And myself watched one of them turn over, going about 4 miles an hour, just kind of slow motion, just flop. They had at the time they were in the logging business, they had a logging conference in Ukiah, and they loaded out one of these trucks with the biggest load of redwood logs ever put on a truck, and they had it at the fairgrounds during the conference. The following year, a log company called Ford Logging, I believe, was going to outdo them, so they loaded up this truck, another off-highway log truck, and brought it into the fairgrounds. Unfortunately, they parked it over the top of a culvert. During the course of the night, the truck sank into the culvert on one side, turned over, and smashed the building. So anyway, they wouldn't let anybody try to do that after that. So let's see where we're at here now. Okay, the paper here. That's all. Anyway, Absco Paving, Arthur B. Siri, Absco Paving, Redwood Empire Aggregates, North Coast Paving, and Mendocino Aggregates were all fully equipped grading and paving companies that Arthur was involved in. They supplied construction materials and for everybody, plus their own work. The combined companies had 4 permanent and 2 portable asphalt plants and the necessary crushing and screening plants to produce the aggregates for the asphalt plants. They had a couple of papers and stuff here. Bear with me. They told me to keep it short.
All night.
Okay. Well, the various Arthur B. Siri companies performed and construction and material production along Highway 101 corridor, about 100 miles wide and reaching from the city of Nevada north to the Oregon border. Some of the notable production achievements on a project for the city of Santa Rosa installed in one 8-hour-a-day 9,600 tons of aggregate base. So the guys that haul base and produce base can have an idea of what that was. On another day, placed 3,600 tons of asphalt concrete for the city of Santa Rosa. Another day, placed 4,000 tons of asphalt for the county of Sonoma in one day. During 1972, in Sonoma County on various projects, ABSCO produced and Arthur B. Sherry installed over 200,000 tons of asphalt concrete. In the month of October 1972, the ABSCO Wohler Road plant, and that was, Arthur bought Maxwell Sand and Gravel on Wohler Road, I think around 1970. And it's put a hot plant out there. So anyway, this plant produced 70,000 tons of asphalt concrete in the month of October. On a side note for that, Basalt Rock Company, Kaiser Sand and Gravel, Rudy Gonzalez was with Kaiser. I can't remember who was managing Basalt at the time, but earlier that year, Basalt wanted to know if Arthur was willing to sell that company. And so he gave him a price, and they kind of snickered, thought it was overvalued quite a bit. Well, at the end of that year, after watching the plant produce 70,000 tons, they asked him if his price was still good, and they bought it, and then shut it down. Moved the plant to Healdsburg. Arthur, some of the things that they did was, of course, highway construction. They built a lot of work on 101 from Healdsburg to Oregon. In Lake County, they did the work on Highway 20, 29, 53, and 175. In Mendocino County, they worked on 148, 162, and 153. 36 and 99 in Humboldt County. And on Highway 1, basically from the David clear to the end of Piercing. Sorry. One of the things that happened during the time was the 64 flood. I don't know how many people in here remember the 64 flood, but it was pretty devastating, and actually the highway was closed initially from Ukiah clear out to the Oregon border. And the Arthur B. Sherry Company, ABSCO, had the chore to clean, open, and repair the highway from Ukiah to up above Piercy, where there was a place called the Tree House. So it was a big chore. Myself, I was running the Cat 966 loader. I started off in Ukiah and actually worked my way almost to Garberville one time. And I think I started working on December 18th and worked till April 14th without a day off. And that was amazing here. And of course, he did a lot of streets, county roads, hundreds of miles of county roads and streets. In 1982, Arthur Jr. told me that constructed about half of the streets in Roanoke Park, 20% of the streets in Santa Rosa, and a similar percentage in all the cities and towns north to Oregon. Residential constructed over 10,000 lots with streets within various town limits, constructed and or supplied road building materials for over 2,000 rural vacation retirement home lots with roads included, such as Bodega Harbor subdivision, half of the Sea Ranch subdivision, Shelter Cove subdivision in Humboldt County, Brook Trail subdivision in Mendocino County, Hidden Valley Lakes subdivision in Lake County. Of course, he did lots of commercial work, city parks, city and county buildings, shopping centers such as Town and Country, Montgomery Village, Coddingtown, and Santa Rosa and Sonoma State College, and Humboldt State College. During World War II, worked at Vallejo Shipyards, Eureka Airport, U.S. Navy landing strip, and taxiways in Catawba. Many of you folks realize there was a landing strip at an airport in Catawba. Then they had some other backcountry airplane landing sites. Art was very generous and donated a lot of grading and paving to many nonprofits over the years in all the regions throughout the Redwood Empire, including the parking lot at St. Eugene's Church, the grading and site work for Howard Park Railroad tracks, the original grading for Camp Navarro, for Boy Scouts, grading and paving for Santa Rosa Memorial Hospital. He donated $50,000 worth to Santa Rosa Memorial Hospital, and at that time, $50,000 was a lot of money. He worked with Codding Construction. When Hugh Codding was building Montgomery Village, that area out there, he was got himself in a little bit of a financial bind. And Arthur Sr. got his subs and his suppliers together at a meeting and said, hey, you know, Hugh's a good man, he's going to do it, he's going to finish his work, he's going to go on, we all have to support him. So he actually stood up for Hugh and got Hugh through a bad time, and David Codding relayed that story to me the other day. Anyway, I guess you could say in conclusion, there was a lot of empire builders, such as the ancient Romans, Genghis Khan, and Alexander the Great. Long gone, and no single man could build a modern-day empire, but when you look at the Redwood Empire, Art Series certainly built his share.
Certainly my apologies to the family for screwing up junior and senior. Mea culpa. Anyways, thank you all for coming tonight. Thanks to all of our sponsors. We're done. It's cigars and pork time after the fireplace. Thank you, Don Mills and Sound Ideas for recording it. How do we get a copy of it, Don? Somebody wants to watch their family.
Contact Mary.
Talk to Mary. All right, you guys. Thank you very much.